So it falls to me to speak on behalf of my fellow youths.
All young women.
Look, I find it really problematic. I feel like it's really derailing, and it happens so often. And a lot of the time, like Naomi said, you know, I often write op-eds from a feminist perspective. In fact, more often than not, I do. And so often it's sort of couched in these negative terms, in terms of what feminism has ruined for people, or is feminism to blame for X, Y, Z. And I wish it weren't the case.
Is it a rallying point still, the word? What do you think, Jermaine? I mean, you said you prefer women's liberation. You'd like to reclaim that.
It depends what you think has been going on. As far as I'm concerned, the women's liberation movement hasn't even begun. We're still trying to figure out what freedom might be like, what kind of institutions might work with it, what kinds of cultural values we want to retain, whether femininity and femaleness are sex and gender and sex, whether it's possible to talk about femaleness as culturally mediated or indeed created, or whether it's a real thing, whether women have more in common with each other than they have with their brothers or with their culture or with their religion. We don't know any of these things. And we also don't know why women are victimized. We don't know to what extent women adopt a victim posture. We don't know whether a woman who is being aggressive or defensive is more likely or less likely to be hurt or killed. We really have no idea. We're still groping to find our way.
Why are we still groping to find our way?
Because this is the last great revolution.
Yay!
And in the meantime, something rather dreadful has happened in our societies, which is that the revolution before the last, which was the revolution of labour, appears to have foundered. And we now live in a society where lots of people have no work, lots of people have 0 hours contracts, lots of people are living in extreme insecurity. I think we've seen the labour movement completely betrayed. So, and as we're the mothers and sisters and workers ourselves, what do? Do we look back and say, hey, we've got to regroup here? And it used to, in the old days, my friends who were the workers' Socialist Party, for example, would say that I was wicked because I was splitting the labour movement, I was setting it against husband against wife and so on, which I thought was just wrong, because so often the wives were being used to actually limit the self-definition of the worker. And if you actually think about a great play like Death of a Salesman, the role of the wife is very clear there, that she is the real architect of his hopelessness and betrayal of his working class roots. So where are we? I don't know where we are, especially not in poor old Australia, which is, you know, a mine at the moment. Where
are we, Eliza, do you think?
You know, I'm everywhere. So I actually was thinking about this question. I don't think much about being a feminist, and that's partly because of the work done on behalf of women by people on the stage, to be frank. And so, you know, my work is frontline work, quite literally. I am a war reporter,